Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the best V engines to choose from the Selector that we'll be getting from the anniversary. I'll also go over character selector as well, which one is worthwhile to pick, including mindscapes. So let's begin first with V engine options. I'll start first with Steel Cushion. This is originally Nekomata V engine. In terms of practicality, there is not really that many characters besides Nekomata that can really take advantage of this. You could technically use this on Hugo Vlad because he does teleport behind the enemies and you could get this 25% damage boost, but from what I've seen, it doesn't seem to be that consistent, and also the flexibility of this V engine is very poor. On Hugo Vlad, you could easily use instead something like Mercato Desire if you happen to have it, or even Gilded Blossom. This is an original, I believe, 1.0 event V engine. If you happen to have it, this will work great on Hugo Vlad. However, if you have neither of those two A-rank V engines, there is another more generic options you could set out to use in your Hugo Vlad, and also the next V engine I'm going to talk about, Brimstone. Brimstone is an amazing V engine, very flexible, can be used on multiple attack specialty characters. It does provide a significant amount of attack. However, do note that you have to perform basic attack, dash attack, or dodge counter. So if you play with characters like Evelyn, you will not get stacks from her dash attacks, just as a heads up. But this one is a great option, and especially if your account is lacking something like Mercato Desire. And also, if you do have Mercato Desire on your account, getting a Brimstone will give you basically more flexibility and better coverage, especially if you play two attack teams at the same time. One uses Mercato Desire, the other Brimstone. So Brimstone, you can't really go wrong with it. Now let's talk about the next option, Hellfire Gears. This is an amazing V engine for stun agents. It provides an advanced stat of impact, but more importantly, it does give you energy regen as well on your characters. So any energy hungry characters like Lycaon and so on will have extra energy from this. However, do note that this energy regen is only active while the character is off field, but most of the stunners nowadays, you play them off field, so it's pretty good. And also whenever you use X special attack, you will increase impact of the agent. This V engine will work great for something like Lycaon, Lighter, Jufufu can also use this V engine. So this is a pretty good option for multiple stunners. I'm not sure how the energy regeneration will work with Jufufu specifically when you're not controlling her, but she's on field doing her chain attack. I assume you will not be getting energy regen at that moment, but who knows? Maybe it might work. It requires testing regarding that one, but still, Hellfire Gears is an excellent option to go for. Then we have another stun V engine, Restrained. This V engine originally was thought to be very good by the community as far as I remember, but as the time went on-field stunners is not really a thing anymore. Also, I know you can say you could use this on Lighter because he does basic attacks when you swap with him to do his stuff, but do know that Lighter will still prefer something like Hellfire Gears or even Steam Oven because of that energy regen and impact buffs on top. That's why I don't recommend going for this V engine. If you do have Lycaon and you want to improve your Lycaon, just get Hellfire Gears for him or just keep using Steam Oven. It's perfectly fine. And also for Lycaon specifically, he really wants a lot of energy to have his X special skill used as much as possible, and this V engine simply does not help with that at all. Now let's go over Fusion Compiler. This is an excellent anomaly V engine. It can work on several characters. You could argue it is kinda generic, but do know that this V engine will get much more value with characters that stack pen ratio or have even teammates that buff pen ratio because you have an advanced stat of pen ratio. However, do note that you're not going to necessarily get a lot of anomaly proficiency from this V engine like with Gemini, especially if you're not using an on-field type of anomaly character. But if you play with an on-field anomaly character who uses a lot of their special attacks, you will be able to stack this up quite a lot. The attack buff that you also get from the passive is pretty decent too. But also do know that characters like Vivian will still prefer whipping Gemini because it will simply give them more anomaly proficiency, and that will scale better with her kit. And lastly, let's talk about whipping Cradle. This is the support V engine. That's pretty much an amazing option for Rina, and that's about it. I really don't recommend getting this V engine at all, except if you have and you do play Rina, because the advanced stat of pen ratio is going to be very useful for her because her buffs scale off pen ratio. So the more pen ratio you have, the more pen ratio she'll be able to buff for your entire team. And this is pretty much the only support V engine with pen ratio that is S rank. Also, the passive itself will work pretty fine for her. The energy regen is cool, and also nice damage boost for the entire squad. So it's a good option, but we only recommend getting this V engine specifically if you are playing Rina. So overall, what would be the best priority to go for or to pick from? I would say it's between Brimstone, Hellfire Gears, and Fusion Compiler. It literally depends on your account situation. Let's say you have a lot of attack agents, then you probably want Brimstone, but if you're lacking on the stun front with V engines and you have a lot of stunners, Hellfire Gears will do great. Fusion Compiler if you do play those anomaly characters. However, personally, I would still prioritize something like Brimstone because I would say it's very flexible option, and generally getting a DPS V engine will improve your performance much more than getting a stun V engine. That's why personally I would prioritize DPS engines over supportive or stun options. Also, a big important advice I would like to offer is to not get a V engine you necessarily already have. I'll recommend you pick what you're missing, but if you already have, let's say, one Brimstone, you could get the second one so you can play two separate at the same time, especially if you're lacking something like Mercato Desire in your account. That can be very useful and good. Now let's talk about the character selector, but before that, I would like to let you know that a lot of you guys who watch me are not subscribed. If you'd like to support this small channel, feel free to subscribe. It's completely free of charge. Smile. So now let's talk about the character selector. I'll begin first with Nekomata. Just don't go for Nekomata, but if you do like this character a lot, I mean, who am I to stop you? I really don't recommend getting this character, neither her Mindscapes. I don't think it's a valuable option in terms of meta at all. Whether she will get buffed or not in the future, who knows? I personally think they will probably focus buffing the limited characters first and foremost, but we can always be surprised. But I still don't recommend picking a character on hopes that it might get buffed in the future. As long as we don't have a confirmation or something, I highly recommend not to do that. Now let's talk about the other DPS that's available, Soldier 11. This option, unlike Nekomata, is much better option. She is a decent option if you do have lighter in your account or you do plan to get lighter. Without lighter, I don't think Soldier is that great at all, and I would not recommend picking her up if you're not serious about getting that lighter. As for her Mindscapes, I would say that her Mindscape 2, it's pretty decent. It's like more damage. So if you already have her at M1, you could push for M2, but just as a reminder, I highly recommend to pick the characters you're missing over a Mindscape. Now let's talk about Koleda. She is an okay stunner. I mean, it is better than A rank MB option. They're also planning to update her additional abilities, so you'll be able to use it with Rapture Agent, so that's gonna be pretty cool as well. I would say she's a quite decent free-to-play options as a stunner, especially if you're lacking stunners in her account, but do note that this chain attack damage boost she provides only works within the stun. So characters like Evelyn will not get that damage boost on their chain attacks outside of the stuns, just as a heads up. But it's still functional, it can work, and it's something you could go for. As for Mindscapes, her M2 does give you like some energy recovery, which can be useful, but once again, I don't really recommend going for Mindscapes over the characters. But of course, I'll also provide a priority list more or less after I go through each character. Now let's go over Lycaon. Unlike his signature, this character itself is a great choice to pick on your account. You can't really go wrong with him. And I will also say he is basically a better choice over Koleda, especially if you have ice DPSs on your account, because Lycaon does provide a nice ice damage resistance down for your team. Also has a nice target stun damage multiplier increase. So Lycaon is an amazing option. He's gonna work great with something like Miyabi plus Sokaku. You can play him with Hugo Vlad and also with Ellen as well, even the new buffed version. That's pretty good. And I believe Lycaon is always gonna be a pretty good option for ice DPS type of characters on your account. As for his Mindscapes, his M1 is an amazing option. Effectively, his X special attack will do more days, which is good because Lycaon is all about getting that energy, use his X special attack as often as possible. That's pretty much his gameplay nowadays, and M1 pretty much complements that. Anything past M1, it's like whatever. So this is one of the better Mindscapes you can choose from. Now let's talk about our favorite Grace. She used to be quite popular on release. Would I really recommend going for Grace? Not at all. But if you're trying to get the picture, you know, like I'm one Mindscape away, and I'll probably go for this M6 smile. But on a serious note, Grace is pretty much outclassed. She's just there to apply shock, I guess. I mean, she can still work if you're willing to use Vivian plus Astra Yao. They can effectively carry her, but I still don't recommend picking Grace if you care about meta. Also for Mindscapes, the only realistic value is if you're trying to push for the picture to have it in your profile. That's about it, alright? Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about the last character, which is Rina. Rina is an amazing option as well, just like Lycaon. She can work great as well. However, just as a big disclaimer, Rina at M0, in my opinion, it sucks. It's very uncomfortable to play because the duration of her pen ratio buff is extremely short without M1. M1 effectively fixes that problem where the buff duration is much longer and more manageable for your rotations. I believe at M0, the duration of the buff is like 5 seconds something. It's way too short. Very clunky, so I don't recommend picking this character at M0. I would say the value of Rina is more like you already have her at M0 and now you're picking M1 to make it better. But effectively what Rina is, a pen ratio buffer along with shock damage increase. She will synergize quite well with something like Yanagi teams, so she's an alright option, but once again, I don't recommend picking her at M0. So overall, with the character selector priority, it's pretty much between Lycaon or Rina. If you have M0 Rina, you can easily go with M1 Rina, assuming you're actually playing her with Yanagi or something like that. Otherwise, Lycaon is an amazing option if you don't have the character or M1. Even if you're not playing right now Lycaon, I would still pick Lycaon over Rina, assuming you don't play either of them, because at some point they're probably gonna release some more ice DPS characters, or maybe you're gonna get that Miyabi rerun and you'll just be able to use Lycaon right there. It's probably gonna be fine. So yeah, this is pretty much it for this selector guide. As a quick recap, I highly recommend to go for V engines between Brimstone, Hellfire Gears, or Fusion Compiler, depending on your account situation. I don't recommend getting dupes for your V engines. Get separate copies, especially the ones that you're missing, for better coverage on your account. As for character selector, it's pretty much between Lycaon or Rina. I would put higher emphasis on Lycaon, especially if you don't already have M0 Rina, but you could also go for M0 Rina and then you hope you get M1 by luck or maybe from another selector in the future. But believe me, Rina at M0 is not necessarily that fun to play. It's very clunky to maintain that buff, and it's much more stricter on your rotations with that 5-second buff duration, that is. So yeah, this is pretty much it. And of course, if you have anything else you would like to add yourself, or you have some additional questions, feel free to write it within the comments down below. And of course, if you like this video, feel free to give it a like and all that stuff. Smile. I wish you a wonderful day and see you in the next video. Ciao.